Hi, I'm Mystical Blue and welcome to another exciting episode from Marvelous Videos. Today I'll be taking you through Darth Bane was a notable Sith Lord who is from the old days and who established the famous Rule of Two, which stated that there would only be two existing Sith at any given moment, a master and his apprentice. The Rule of Two made sure that any disagreements between the Sith never got to the point where it would lead to their extinction. The Disney lore has reinvented the Rule of Two, disclosing that it was linked to Sith doctrine, also known as the Doctrine of the Force Dyad, which is an attempt to unleash a power greater than life itself. Darth Bane's story, on the other hand, is yet to be revealed. Drew Karpysh's book based on Star Wars, named Darth Bane Trilogy, depicted details of his life. However, because these books are regarded as legends, which is why a significant proportion of the subject matter in them is not deemed canon, the origin of the wicked Sith, Darth Bane, as well as the Republic, has recently been rewritten in the new Star Wars comics. Darth Bane, unquestionably one of the biggest and best Sith Lords, was also the one who resurrected the Sith. According to George Lucas in a question and answer session with the Time magazine, the oldest Sith decided to embrace the dark side of the Force and started turning on each other, each consumed by a self-centered hunger for power. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. How an abusive childhood led to one of the deadliest Sith Lords. George Lucas was the individual who developed Bane, who was initially referenced in the novel adaptation of The Phantom Menace. Later, his story would be fleshed out progressively by other stories, and finally almost entirely by Drew Karpysh's series about Darth Bane. Darth Bane's history is established in Drew Karpysh's Darth Bane Path of Destruction. On the world of Apatros, Darth Bane is originally born as Dezel, the child of Minor, who is called Hurst. Hurst, an aggressive drinker, blames the youngster for his wife's death during delivery and frequently refers to him as the literal bane of his very existence. Bane's father sends him to work in the mines at a very young age, where he is ridiculed and abused until he reaches maturity. Bane utilizes his inherent affinity for the dark side present in the Force to murder his father while he is asleep, unsuspecting of his son's betrayal. Bane then escapes from Apatros to avoid imprisonment after killing a Republic Navy officer in an act of self-defense, and joins the troops of the famed Brotherhood of Darkness, which is an organization that is composed of Sith Lords as well as acolytes. His innate use of the dark side of the Force, that he initially dismisses as being a myth, draws the notice of the evil Sith Lord Copex. Dezel is taken to the powerful Brotherhood's academy on the planet of Korriban, which is the only planet in the Outset system to be taught in the art of the dark side. After murdering another student of the academy in cold blood, Dezel is proceeded to go ahead and rename himself using a word his father called him often, Bane, and then became a star pupil. Sirak, the best student in the Korriban Academy, notices him in particular. Bane unintentionally withdraws from the Force after realizing he murdered his dad with the use of the dark side. Bane drops out of grace in the academy and is eventually denied individual training. Months after this incident, in a futile attempt to rebuild himself, Bane confronts Sirak and challenges him to a duel and is severely hurt in the subsequent combat. Both Jedi vs Sith as well as Path of Destruction go into great depth on Bane's training and rise to the Sith. As a student, he encounters a new apprentice who is also a former Jedi and who is named Githany. Githany secretly aims to use him for his own selfish gain and in order to bring down Sirak. Githany reinstates his relationship with the dark side by secretly revealing to him what the powerful Sith Lords are telling her. Most crucially, and much to the chagrin of the teachers, Bane examines things which are from the majestic golden age of the Sith. He soon discovers that the Brotherhood's doctrines are lacking. Githany informs Bane that she wants to challenge Sirak, expecting that Bane will agree to murder him in exchange for her life. Bane, on the other hand, surprises her by disclosing his plans to personally destroy Sirak in the fighting ring, and that he somehow had understood all along she was manipulating him. At the time of the duel, he gravely injures his opponent but fails to kill him, stopping his advances just in time. The senior Sith there, who is a man named Cordus, is aware of his covert training with Githany. He informs him so, which irritates Bane. Bane takes leave of the academy, intending to discover the mysteries of legendary Sith Masters in Korriban Valley, which was the abode of the Dark Lords. But to his dismay, he discovers nothing. He goes back to the academy, whereupon Githany leads him towards the archives, ostensibly to murder him. However, when the trap is activated, Bane understands that it is intended for Sirac. Githany assassinates Sirac's thugs, and Bane fights and murders his old foe in a lightsaber duel. Bane assumes the long-forgotten Sith title of Darth, quits the Brotherhood and journeys to Rakata Prime. There, he uncovers a Sith holocron, which had been left there by Darth Revan. Bane wraps up his training, learns several Sith methods including the Thought Bomb, which is meant to destroy all Force-sensitive individuals within range. He sends it to Lord Khan. Bane then develops and implements the Rule of Two, which states that only 2 Sith Lords, the first, a Master, and an Apprentice, are permitted to exit at the same time, and this rule stated, one to embody the power and another one to crave it. The Sith, Khan, commands that every one of the pupils of Korriban be made lords and transported to war on Ruusan. Khan orders Kazim to fetch Bane again to Ruusan and force him to become a part of the Brotherhood or die. Bane contemplates taking on his former instructor as an apprentice after seeing him, but murders him after being rebuffed. Bane then takes it upon his own self to eliminate the surviving Sith and train an apprentice to pass on the Sith lineage. Githany volunteers to assassinate Bane when he sends a fake message to Khan, inviting him to join the Brotherhood. Bane, unbeknownst to Githany, had also dispatched the mind bomb, ostensibly as a gesture of goodwill. Githany tracks down Bane and appears to accept his invitation to become a part of the Brotherhood. Githany poisoned him with a kiss, resulting in him becoming extremely ill. Bane, who is barely alive, ultimately finds a physician called Caleb and blackmails him into assistance by threatening to harm his daughter. Caleb heals Bane of the fatal poison and nurtures him back to good health. Bane goes back to Ruusan, where Khan promises to follow his command in war. During mediation, Bane utilizes his own body and might as a focusing agent to release a wave of destruction throughout the woodlands of Ruusan, in which the Jedi's powerful army of light is hidden. When the remaining Sith Lords revolt, Bane instructs the captain of the space troops to confront the Jedi fleet. Recognizing his impending loss, Khan retires to nearby caves with the rest of the Sith Lords. When the Thought Bomb explodes, it crushes the Jedi as well as the Sith armies, including Githany, Khan, and the head of the Jedi Army of the Light, who is a man named Jedi Master Hoth. Bane encounters a Force-sensitive little girl named Rain, who was taken to Ruusan by the Jedi, in both the feature in Jedi vs. Sith and also at the conclusion of Path of Destruction. Rain was travelling with her buddy La, a Ruusan native known as Bouncer, and had protected La from being corrupted by the Sith devastation of Ruusan. La is killed by 2 of the Jedi troops because every single Bouncer they encountered after Bane, as well as the other Sith's annihilation, had gone insane. As Bane looks on, Rain unwittingly summons the dark side and murders the 2 Jedi troopers. Rain's talent is recognized by Bane, who adopts her as his trainee, Darth Zayna.
Why do you come to my tomb?
His strange role in Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Darth Bane, whose birth name was Dezel, was originally a human Sith Dark Lord during the new Sith Wars. He died nearly a millennium before the Star Wars Clone Wars began. Darth Bane invented the Rule of Two before Clone Wars as the last Sith survivor of the devastating new Sith Wars. Yoda, the Jedi Master, travelled to Korriban to complete his training in keeping his identity after his death in order to battle a tremendous evil. He reached the Valley of Dark Lords, and there was a mausoleum made for Bane in the centre of the chamber, and a gigantic, hazy figure emerged from Bane's grave and tried to convince Yoda to become his trainee and kill the Jedi together. Yoda deduced that Bane was an illusion created to deceive Yoda into embracing the Sith Order. The apparition then vanished. Darth Bane, like Darth Revan, was originally scheduled to play a role in the Clone Wars TV show episode named Ghosts of Mortis. Originally, Bane and Raven were thought to be the driving forces behind Sun's terrible actions. The episode was produced, but George Lucas opted to remove it because it contradicted his conception perception of the Force. Later in the final episode, Sacrifice, Bane made an appearance. Mark Hamill, who played the role of Luke Skywalker in the initial Star Wars movie, dubbed for his voice in that episode. Darth Revan and Darth Bane, the major characters in the Legends computer game of Star Wars, named the Knights of the Old Republic, were chosen as the two antagonist Sith Lords in Clone Wars by the development crew. The two figures for the Ghosts of Mortis were stylized and sculpted after the portrayals in Star Wars Legends. However, the sequence was never animated despite being drawn out. The show's supervising director, Dave Filoni, was skeptical of the premise that Sith Lords might return as ghosts, fearing that Revan and Bane's arrival would have far-reaching consequences beyond the scope of the episode. Lucas considered it as well, and finally concluded that the sequence should be cut from the episode owing to the consequences for his understanding of the Force. The incomplete scene, named the Sun Confers with the Ancient Sith Lords, was released in an unfinished form inside the Jedi Temple Archives highlight for the Star Wars, the Clone Wars, and in the complete Season 3, and portrays Revan and Bane speaking to the Sun within the Well of the Dark Side, which is located in the idyllic realm of Mortis. The Sun, who had previously been taught by the two Sith Lords, wonders why he feels anguish over the occurrences of the previous two segments, Altar of Mortis and Overlords, and the Sith Lords informs him it is due to the fact that he has not accepted his anger and bitterness. When the Sun wants to know their actual names, the two spirits expose themselves as Revan and Bane and inform him that possessing Anakin Skywalker, who is also known as the Chosen One, is indeed the key to dominating the galaxy. Despite being deleted from his scene in the Ghosts of Mortis, the mysterious Darth Bane would finally make his very first canonical debut, although as a ghost, in Sacrifice, which was the 13th and also the final episode of Star Wars TV show The Clone Wars 6th season, which premiered on the 7th of March in 2014. Cutting the originally intended appearance permitted the series' crew to rethink the character and establish what Bane should appear like in the brand new Star Wars canon. The production crew intended Bane's suit to seem like old warrior equipment while still incorporating modern high-tech components. Darren Marshall's original design for Bane includes a complete armor costume inspired by both Japanese warrior armor, which also influenced the designs and patterns of Darth Vader's suit, and ancient Chinese martial armor. Although it was not exactly included in the episode, the promotional material for Sacrifice included a Sith warrior saber pike made by David Lee Merrier that eventually made an appearance in the 2021 reference guide about Star Wars, named The Secrets of the Sith. Furthermore, as per one of the members of the Lucasfilm story group, Pablo Hidalgo, the Force priestesses summoned Bane's spectre during the course of the episode. Mark Hamill, widely known for his role as Luke Skywalker inside the Star Wars franchise, provided the voice for Bane's spectre. To produce Bane's voice, Dave Filoni taped Hamill speaking his lines with two distinct inflections, and afterwards sound designers David Accord and Matthew Wood overlaid the audio tracks on top of each other. Prior to embarking on the part of Bane, Hamill had little knowledge of the figure of how he fit into the greater plot of the Star Wars universe. Nathan Hamill, his son, was aware of the character's background and was capable of explaining it to his baffled father when he took on the part.
And what stands before you?
Can we now explain his weird cameo? Darth Bane's presence in Star Wars series The Clone Wars 6th season was ultimately clarified in the Star Wars segment named The Rise of Skywalker, with the unexplained and mysterious reappearance of Emperor Palpatine inside the Skywalker saga's finale. Many issues remain unanswered despite Chris Terrio's and J.J. Abrams' best efforts to explain them. However, the film does resolve a lot of loose ends from earlier Star Wars works. Most importantly, Star Wars 9 gave some insight into one of the most unexpected appearances in the Clone Wars animation version. The guest appearance in question was, of course, Darth Bane's cameo in the 6th season's 13th episode named Sacrifice. In the segment, Master Yoda journeys to the Sith's residence planet of Moraband to discover more about the Force's deepest mysteries. He had been to the Force planet, also known as the wellspring of life and overcame several obstacles in order to be considered worthy of such wisdom by the majestic Force priestesses. At the time of his final challenge, he comes into contact with the ghost of Darth Bane, who is the legendary Sith Lord who founded the famed Rule of Two. The main topic of contention in the year after the episode's premiere had been that Darth Bane, as a Sith, should not have been able to materialize as a Force apparition. Sith could never gain such a skill, hence his presence should not even have been possible. With this story arc, as well as many other arcs being left to the imagination of the viewers, fans did not hold their breath for any proper resolution. That is, till Star Wars 9 provided an unintentional explanation. Though the rise of Skywalker does not explain Palpatine's survival, it is now evident how he managed to control Darth Bane's soul. As Palpatine declares in the last scene in the film during his fight with Rey, he is the entirety of the Sith. According to the Rule of Two, those who have come before him now exist within him. When a Sith apprentice murders their master spirit lingers within the body and soul of the apprentice. As a result, every single generation of the Sith exists within a single individual at any one time. This increases the overall powers of each Sith Lord over time, since they are cumulative in nature. This was never studied any further, although the principle seemed very straightforward. During the aforementioned Clone Wars episode, Count Dooku and Palpatine were attempting to destroy Yoda using their combined mastery of the Force from their hideaway on Coruscant. Darth Bane materialized and communicated with Yoda upon the Sith home planet during their struggle. As a result, it's fair to suppose that Palpatine was capable of resurrecting Bane in the shape of some type of phantom to help in the destruction of Yoda prior to him becoming aware of their conspiracy to destroy the Jedi. This is not very far in similarity to Force projection of Force spirits, but it is rather a mix of the two, though it is more of a handy consequence than a plain explanation. It is intriguing to see retroactive reasoning to something that has perplexed fans since it first appeared on TV screens. Darth Bane, it is claimed, was not on anyone's mind during the making of the Star Wars segment Rise of Skywalker, yet fans may see the villain again in the reported upcoming Star Wars movie. What was Darth Bane like? Darth Bane, a Sith Lord with visions, was a human male who had incredibly pale skin and yellow eyes. He thought that strength should triumph over weakness, and he developed this philosophy based on his own individual experiences and research into old Sith writings. Bane observed the Sith's ruin and realized the inherent loneliness that came with serving the dark side, and he saw how their infighting and avarice led to their demise. Bane implemented the Rule of Two in order to maintain the Sith as its final survivor, thinking that restricting the population of the Sith to only one master and one pupil would enable the Sith to remain in secret and plot their retribution against the Jedi. Bane, like his progeny, instilled terror in the souls of other beings. What makes Darth Bane so dangerous? Darth Bane has famously been acknowledged as a prodigy of Form 5 Gemso, which he passed on to Zaina, as well as Form 7 Duo and Form 3 Surasu. Bane has engaged several of the finest duelists of the period, including Sarazajaj, Ras-Katal-Su, Kazim, Farfella, and Zaina, due to his mastery of these disciplines. He's also learned hundreds of sequences using the regular lightsaber, a saber staff, and eventually twin blades. Bane, when still dazzled and untrained, killed his father by inflicting a heart attack on him, ostensibly via telekinesis. Bane could easily tire out and murder other disciples of the mysterious Brotherhood of Darkness with some training. The most notable of these occurrences included Cordis, the Korriban Academy's commander, whom he strangled out and actually destroyed along with the Force. Bane used Lennon's Nexus after a fight with Kazim to demolish a whole temple with a surge of telekinetic force. He also could unleash tremendous force waves, which have been known to shred through whole campsites, send many obelisks heading back, and knock down 5 guards and even a table, even when poisoned. Bane's first use of illumination resulted in the devastation and destruction of an entire room. Later, he was able to wield lightning to such an extent that it could incinerate individuals to the degree that only scorched corpses remained. He can even employ lights to protect himself from Zaina's onslaught onslaught by encasing himself in it. The collision sent Zayna back 10 meters. While still an unskilled soldier, Bane sensed and also shot down many hostile troops with his eyes shut in seconds. Regardless of the fact that one of the members of the Brotherhood, Khan, capably mind-controlled every other member of the Brotherhood, Bane's telepathic resistance was powerful enough that Khan could not touch his thoughts except for Corpex. Bane learned force powers from the early Sith Lords, such as essence transfer, which enables one to transmit their essence to some other host organism, force strain, also known as death field, which enables one to casually drain the life energy of one or many targets, and so on. He also learned healing or detoxifying poison, which enables a person to heal oneself and defend the impacts of venom. Force deflection, which enables one to deflect various forms of assaults, ranging from energetic to telekinetic. And beast control, which enables one to take control of a beast. Darth Bane was famous throughout history for his warfare tactics and leadership skills, as a previous member of the famed Brotherhood of Darkness, and also the originator of the Rule of Two. Bane was an agile, powerful, and competent Sith warrior, known for his prowess in lightsaber fighting and use of intimidation. Bane lacked diplomatic abilities, despite being a formidable force welding with a high IQ. Conclusion. During the Clone Wars, the Supreme Chancellor named Sheev Palpatine, who is secretly the Sith Dark Lord Darth Sidious, as well as a believer of the infamous Rule of Two, took the Galactic Republic and turned it into the massive Galactic Empire and annihilated the Jedi Order, fulfilling Bane's revenge against the Jedi. The victory, however, was fleeting, as the repentant Jedi Knight named Anakin Skywalker, previously the Sith Lord named Darth Vader, vanquished the Sith 23 years down the line, and the Order was eventually annihilated upon Sidious's death in 35 ABY. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.